5 months after their marriage, Nat and Maria bought a home in Los Angeles, in affluent Hancock Park, where many of the city's white-moneyed families lived.
As we enter the main foyer here in the main house at Neverland, this was a room where Michael Jackson would greet his closest friends. And
some houses were once paradise, now they're pure hell. Where soul music echoed, endless laughter rang, and party lights blazed all night. Now only wind howls through windows like mournful cries, and the stench of mold rises from walls stained by oblivion. If you step inside, you won't believe these 25 mansions once housed legends, black artists who changed Hollywood forever. But after their deaths, their lavish estates were abandoned without mercy. No occupants, no upkeep, no one dares come close. Why? If you want answers, don't skip this video. You'll not only see 25 deserted mansions, but uncover the tragedies behind each door that nobody wants to revisit. Make sure you've got nerves of steel or someone to watch with, because the deeper you dig into their stories, the more your skin will crawl. 1. Nat King Cole Mansion. Witness to the collapse of the king of classic pop born working class, Nat King Cole hit the peak of fame with his warm voice and masterful piano skills. The first black man with his own U.S. TV show, he shattered countless racial barriers in entertainment. In 1956, he bought a lavish mansion in Hancock Park, a symbol of the American dream he'd grasped. But just 6 years later, in 1961, it all started crumbling. Nat couldn't stop coughing. Harsh, rattling coughs echoed through the second floor. Doctors diagnosed lung cancer tied to decades of heavy smoking, but Cole hid it, still recording daily in a small, curtained room. He clung to music like a drowning man clutching his last breath. Few knew his lungs were barely half working, every note sung through choking pain. The house stopped being a home. It grew heavy, always dim because he demanded curtains stay shut all morning. Light made him dizzy. The mansion became a cold cocoon, trapping him between fame's glow and the cruel truth's darkness. In February 1965, he died. But his family's hell was just beginning. Maria, his wife, faced a barrage of racist hate. Anonymous letters and threats flooded in, cursing their kids just for being black in a rich white neighborhood. Terrified, with no husband to lean on, Maria quietly fled with the kids 2 weeks after the funeral. No sale, no belongings taken. Just locked the door and vanished. The house sat neglected for years. Thieves broke in, stripping everything, from the iconic piano to crystal chandeliers. The fountain dried up. Walls were graffitied. Grass grew knee-high. His glittering legacy became moldy scraps of memory. Rumors spread the mansion was haunted, with neighbors hearing piano notes at 3 a.m. Some saw shadows glide past windows, though the power had been cut for years. By 2001, a young musician rented it, hoping to revive Cole's musical spirit. He lasted 3 months. When he left, he posted a chilling blog. "I've never seen a place so full of music, yet so eerily silent." The mansion's now shuttered, dust-covered, standing mute as a witness to a legend's rise and fall. The American dream. A stellar career, a lavish estate, all ending in oblivion and creepy rumors. 2. Sam Cooke. Stalked mansion and the mysterious death of a soul legend. Sam Cooke, the father of soul, turned pain into melody, his voice a symbol of freedom and struggle. He wasn't just a music star, but a civil rights leader, with hits that shook 1960s America. In 1963, Cooke moved to a modern 4,000-square-foot mansion in Los Angeles, floor-to-ceiling glass doors opening to a sunlit garden. It was once a peaceful haven where he recorded "A Change Is Gonna Come," a song that echoed worldwide. But behind the all-night parties and industry laughter, darkness loomed larger. He noticed strange cars parked nearby, no plates, lights off. Unexplained noises echoed in hallways at night. Paranoia grew, not just in the house, but in his mind. Cooke told family he was being watched by the FBI for his activism. Something felt wrong. Nobody believed him. Until disaster struck one winter night. On December 11, 1964, Sam Cooke was shot dead in a cheap motel. The news exploded, a soul icon killed in shady circumstances, nearly naked, by a hotel manager. Cops closed the case in days, calling it justifiable. But the public couldn't buy it. Too many questions swirled. To squash theories about the killer, media tore Cooke's image apart, painting him as a reckless double-lifer. Radio stations, once demanding justice, went silent. Friends backed off. His wife, Barbara, got swept into a storm of rumors. Overwhelmed, she quietly sold the mansion and faded from the spotlight. The house became tied to scandal. Its buyer, a young entrepreneur, went bankrupt within a year after a Hollywood financial scam. The mansion was repossessed and left to rot. Cooke's tainted name scared off buyers. It was listed repeatedly but never sold, not for price, but for the shadow of an unsolved death. With no visitors, the studio speakers were soon stolen. A photo of Cooke with Muhammad Ali vanished. The garden turned to weeds. An old willow died mid-spring in 1982. A homeless man seeking shelter fled at midnight, claiming, "I saw a guy with his back turned, but when I called, he melted into the glass." Rumors say Cooke's final recording lies in the basement. Nobody's brave enough to check. The mansion, once a home, is now a black hole. It swallowed every trace of a legend, and the question of Sam Cooke's death still hangs in the air, just like the unknown fate of that house. 3. Otis Redding. Mansion wrecked. After a moment of free fall, Otis Redding, the soulful voice of the American South, poured raw emotion into every note, making him one of soul's greatest icons. With classics like Try a Little Tenderness and Respect, he embodied sincerity and struggle. In his final years, he lived in a 5,000-square-foot wooden house in Macon, Georgia, the heart of his creativity and the start of an inescapable tragedy. In 1966, at his career's peak, Otis revamped the house. He built a ground-floor studio with pine walls and big windows overlooking the garden, where he'd strum his guitar each morning, chasing inspiration in the quiet. The house radiated peace outside. Inside, pressure was silently crushing him. Otis worked non-stop, micromanaging deals, writing endlessly, fighting over black artists' rights against label bosses. He stopped trusting anyone, even allies. Sleeplessness, stress, and control issues consumed him. In December 1967, he'd just cut a rough, sitting on the dock of the bay in that studio. 2 days later, en route to Wisconsin, his private plane crashed into Lake Monona's icy waters. His body was recovered, but his trusty guitar vanished. His wife, Zelma, collapsed entirely. The house grew strangely cold. The studio stayed untouched. His unfinished song still on the desk, nobody could bear to clear it. By March 1968, Zelma left for good, never returning. The house stood empty, no longer a home, but a shrine to raw grief. Zelma refused to sell, saying only, "Otis is still there." From the 1970s to 1990s, the house decayed fast. The roof leaked, wood rotted, gear rusted. The vibrant studio became a dusty, grim shell. Weeds blocked the entrance. A photo of Otis with his son in the living room faded to blurry lines. Locals whispered that every December, on his death's anniversary, the studio lights flickered at midnight. Some swore they heard whistling, the melody of Dock of the Bay. But the house was empty. In 1995, producers planned a memorial museum. They quit fast. Inside, furniture was cracked, ceilings peeled, walls splintered. The studio made eerie clicks despite dead equipment. The lone tape left hissed with static, like something not meant to play. The funders bailed quietly, uneasy about the vibe. Today, the Redding Foundation owns it, but no one enters. A house that once pulsed with world-shaking music now holds only wind, moldy wood, and the chilling sense of a soul lingering over unfinished songs. 4. James Brown. Shocking death and a deserted soul palace, tinged with eeriness. James Brown, the godfather of soul, set America ablaze with his fiery voice, wild moves, and unbreakable spirit. He was black music's cornerstone, a giant every artist admired. But after a fateful Christmas night in 2006, that glory vanished, leaving a cold, rotting mansion his own family turned into a ruthless battlefield. In 1972, James Brown bought a Beach Island mansion to flaunt his peak power. Over 8,000 square feet, with black iron gates etched with his name, it was a golden castle. Red carpets, white chairs, crystal chandeliers, bronze statues. A triple-insulated studio let him scream hits at 2 a.m., shirtless, sweating, gripping the mic like he was possessed. But behind the dazzle, ruin took hold. Bipolar disorder, PCP, and cocaine addiction spiraled. Some nights he locked himself in, clutching a gun, silent for 3 days. Cops surrounded the place. Nobody dared enter. Lights blazed, music roared. Then, for no reason, it all stopped. When he died of heart failure on Christmas 2006, everything crashed. 9 kids and a disputed wife, Tommy Ray, fought over every scrap, from properties to his old shoes. The mansion became a prize nobody truly cared for. No cleaning, no repairs. Windows smashed. Rats nested in the studio. His bronze statue in the foyer vanished, stolen or swiped by family for safekeeping. The white Baldwin piano was secretly sold in 2015 to cover legal debts. Locals steer clear, spooked by odd noises and a chilling vibe oozing from the place. By 2021, once valued at $2 million, locals steer clear, spooked by odd noises and a chilling vibe oozing from the place. By 2021, once valued at $2 million, the mansion listed for just $350,000, like gilded junk from a rotted golden era. The new owner bought it, left it untouched, too scared to fix or live there after one creepy night. The house lies still, a mummy of a forgotten legend. Red paint scrawls, "Papa's got a brand new bag," on the studio wall. Nobody knows by who. Some say it's Brown's last mark. 5. Marvin Gaye, final scream in a silent mansion. Marvin Gaye was Motown's soul, an unmatched icon of soul music. With silky hits like Sexual Healing and What's Going On, he voiced a generation. But his end wasn't bathed in stage lights. It was blood on the floor. His nearly 6,000 square foot West Adams, Los Angeles mansion was Marvin's refuge after dark years. Every corner, every wall became a sacred space to heal, write, breathe. But as fame faded, it all collapsed. Marvin drowned in debt, snorted cocaine daily, cut off even those who loved him. He trusted no one, stopped singing. He claimed the CIA tailed him, the FBI set traps, and demons lurked in the house. He fled for years, haunted by unseen fears. By December 1983, he moved back with his parents. It wasn't a warm reunion, it was grim fate. Marvin and his father, a strict conservative preacher, had loathed each other since childhood beatings. Now, under one roof, silence and hatred simmered, ready to erupt. On April 1, 1984, after a heated fight over a misdelivered letter his father thought was fraud, Marvin punched him down. His mother calmed him. Minutes later, his father returned, wielding a gun Marvin had gifted him. 2 shots. One pierced his heart. Another fired as he lay crumpled. Marvin died in his mother's arms, a day shy of 45. The family fled within a week. His mother couldn't enter the murder room again. She sold the mansion a year later and divorced her husband. New owners didn't last. Each spoke of suffocating air, faint singing at night, icy chills in summer, and studio lights flickering without power. The house was sealed, left a ruin gripped by unresolved pain. 6. Etta James. Mansion of a Queen and her final chord, Etta James, was an unstoppable force in blues and soul. Her voice tore through the air, silencing America to hear every sob, every low note. She had it all: Grammys, reverence, an untouchable musical legacy. But in the end, she had nothing but a lonely house. In 2006, after decades battling drugs, jail, and illness, Etta James settled into a 5,000 square foot riverside mansion. Secluded, quiet. She wanted rest, to find herself, but her body gave out. Heroin wrecked her liver. She caught hepatitis C, then leukemia. Her health plummeted. By 2008, she was fully paralyzed, wheelchair-bound, eyes dim, voice a raspy whisper. The once peaceful house became a silent cage of bare walls. Aides said the studio echoed with eerie piano notes at night, though no one entered. They only worked days. Nurses quit often, some vowing never to return after a single shift. The garden went untended, grass swallowing windows. Etta stared out daily, waiting for family to knock. Nobody came. On January 20th, 2012, Etta died in a coma. Her family hadn't even planned her funeral before her long-estranged husband and kids sued each other. A vicious fight over assets erupted while she still lay unburied. Everything froze. Nobody touched the house. It sat forgotten for years. In 2016, reporters got inside, but the sight wasn't pretty. Moldy carpets, fogged mirrors, rusted furniture. The studio was gutted. No light, no life. Just Etta's peeling portrait on the wall, eyes piercing through. It's no house anymore. It's a tomb suspended in limbo, a place that saw a queen's rise to glory, then her plunge into a bottomless abyss. 7. Barry White, mansion silenced after losing its golden voice. Barry White, soul's romantic titan, charmed millions with a deep voice that melted hearts. He sold tens of millions of records, won Grammys, and became a global icon of love and passion. But his spotlight dimmed in solitude and total silence. His massive 7,000-square-foot Beverly Hills mansion was once Barry's paradise, where he lived with family, where walls pulsed with his music. It had a private studio, a sleek pool, a kitchen where he cooked amid his own tracks. But in 2002, disaster hit. A severe stroke paralyzed half his body. His voice vanished. He lay bedridden on the second floor, cut off from the world. No stage, no microphone. Only his young wife, Catherine, stayed, watching Barry White fade day by day. He died in July 2003 after endless battles with kidney failure and dialysis. Death wasn't the end. It kicked off a second tragedy. An inheritance war. Kids from 2 prior marriages dragged Catherine to court, accusing her of theft. No will, no agreement, just shouting. Meanwhile, the mansion sat locked, abandoned as the fight dragged on. A year later, a storm shattered the glass roof, rain ruining the floors. What remained was a damp, dark, rotting shell. In 2010, an investor bought it to make a luxury retreat. He quit months later, citing bad vibes. Teens once sneaked in, but a sudden bass thump from nowhere sent them sprinting. The house is an empty husk tied to Barry White's name, but nobody dares speak it. 8. Isaac Hayes, soul shattered in a forgotten mansion. Isaac Hayes, an immortal soul giant, won an Oscar for theme from Shaft, his deep voice and haunting music stopping the world in its tracks. Musician, producer, cultural icon, he shaped Black America's voice. But offstage, his world crumbled bit by bit. His 6,000-square-foot Memphis mansion, once soul's beating heart, became a cage for a broken spirit. In his final years, Isaac fought hypertension, diabetes, and a 2006 stroke that paralyzed half his body. Doctors urged rest, but he'd slip to the basement studio, a cold, eerie space nobody lingered in. He'd talk alone, play piano alone, record alone, then erase it all. Nobody heard. Nobody knew what melodies died in silence. Only the moldy, soundproof walls watched. On August 10, 2008, his wife found him collapsed on a treadmill, trying to rebuild strength post-stroke. His heart stopped too fast. No final words. The soul legend fell in the house that launched his glory. His legacy? A mortgaged mansion, unpaid bills, a family fractured by money woes. His wife and kids fled in 2010, leaving it empty, rotting daily. The pool turned to sludge. 2/3 of the lights burned out. Floors peeled. Every corner screamed of faded brilliance, now dead. Neighbors still hear piano notes some midnights, faint, unfinished, like Isaac never left. Nobody enters. The memories are too heavy. A legend's shadow, dead in despair, looms too large to live on. 9. Don Cornelius, Soul Train's founder, trapped in a deadly mansion. Don Cornelius, a black cultural titan, created Soul Train, launching countless music legends. He radiated confidence, class, and pride. But behind the dazzling stage, his life retreated into shadow, ending with a gunshot that shook the world in a house everyone thought was paradise. After selling Soul Train in 2008, Don withdrew to a 6,000-square-foot Mulholland Drive mansion, once a star-packed weekend hub. Parties faded. The house grew unnaturally quiet. Don shut himself in. Aides said he'd stay up all night, staring at blank screens or pacing like he'd lost something. By 2010, chronic headaches from brain surgery returned, fueling irritability, panic, and endless sleeplessness. His bedroom windows were taped with foil, the room always dark, stifling. On February 1st, 2012, he sent his son a brief message, then ended it all. The shot rang out at 4 a.m. Cops found Jazz playing, his body on the bed, eyes wide, hand on chest. Nobody expected a cultural icon to go so grimly. Family found his torn memoir draft scattered in the study, pages on pain, loneliness, and depression, never finished. The house sat deserted. Grass swallowed the yard. The pool grew black, reeking. Neighbors heard Jazz at midnight, chopped off, unfinished riffs. A year later, a homeless man broke into squat. He fled by midnight. The studio, where Don mixed tracks alone till dawn, now spooks everyone. Every February, its lights flicker oddly. Dogs howl at the gate. People believe Don's still there, not to scare, but because his soul never healed. 10. Richard Pryor, Cursed Mansion of a Comedian, Haunted by Laughter. The king of black comedy, Richard Pryor had America doubled over, twisting pain into laughter. But behind the bright stage, agony and obsession festered, and his 9,000-square-foot Northridge mansion saw every chuckle turn to desperate groans. In the late 80s, multiple sclerosis ravaged Pryor's nervous system. He slowly lost walking, then speech, wheelchair-bound all day. Only his ex-wife, Jennifer Lee, who'd reconciled, and a few nurses stayed. In that mansion, he lived caged, in pain, hooked on morphine to sleep. A fire pushed his tragedy to the brink. In 1980, high on cocaine, he set himself ablaze, half his body charred. From then, he was haunted. The room where he burned was locked forever. Nobody entered. Pryor placed a black shaman statue by the door, saying it keeps the fire at bay. He was never the same. The house felt like hell, trapping him between past and hallucinations. Then, random rages ate him up. Erratic will changes sparked endless fights. Jennifer couldn't cope, filing for divorce as he lay dying, yet returned. Some sneered she stayed for the estate's last scraps, but she just didn't want him alone at the end. When he died on December 10, 2005, a worse hell erupted. 6 kids, multiple ex-wives, and Jennifer battled over inheritance. The mansion sold fast. The new owner planned a Pryor museum. Workers quit, claiming ghostly scares. Lights flashed non-stop. TVs and computers turned on, then blew fuses. One swore the wheelchair rolled toward old tapes. Even the owner felt chills entering. So the house sits, wasted. Nobody tends it, just a grim aura shunning people. At midnight, neighbors sometimes hear faint laughter echo. Nobody's bold enough to dig deeper. For Richard Pryor, laughter was his weapon, his pride, his glory. Nobody dares challenge that laugh. 11th, Donna Summer, Silent Mansion of the Disco Queen. Donna Summer drove the world wild with Hot Stuff and Last Dance, a disco icon of dazzling dance floor lights. But behind the glamour was a grim, desolate end. In her final years, she hid away in a 6,500-square-foot Naples, Florida mansion. The pool stood still, curtains stayed shut. The once vibrant house felt frozen. By 2009, lung cancer began ravaging Donna's body. Doctors said it stemmed from toxic dust inhaled during September 11th. She wasted away fast. The mansion turned into a vault of pain, helplessness, and memories nobody dared mention. In 2012, she died quietly there. Her family fled quickly, unable to bear the things that remind us of her vibe. A friend recalled Donna saying no one should stay because too many scary sounds would drive anyone nuts. Was it her dying hallucinations? Nobody knows, but her family never returned after her death. Sometimes neighbors spot a woman's shadow lingering behind the curtains, staring at the bone-dry pool. 12. Bernie Mac, Mansion of Shattered Laughter and Silent, Ruined Nights. Bernie Mac, a legendary black comedian, shone in The Bernie Mac Show and starred in blockbuster films, loved for his unmatched wit nobody could replicate. At his peak, he lived in a 7,000-square-foot Chicago mansion, loaded with a private theater, basketball court, lavish decor, and lights that never dimmed. But behind those lights loomed darkness hard to imagine. From 2006, sarcoidosis quietly wrecked his lungs. He hid it, kept performing, making audiences roar while he suffered and weakened daily. In July 2008, he was hospitalized with severe pneumonia. On August 9th, Bernie was gone forever. The mansion became Chicago's coldest place. His family left, unable to stomach a house brimming with his memory. Vandals trashed the decor, the court cracked, the theater's seats rotted under dust. Early on, a caretaker said laughter echoing inside was common. After that old caretaker died, nobody dared take his place. The mansion's now a soulless husk, faintly ringing with sounds, laughter or maybe wind creaking through loose windows. 13. Teddy Pendergrass, Mansion of Broken Memories, and an Unfinished Song. Teddy Pendergrass, a legendary soul icon, had a sultry voice that mesmerized the world with timeless hits like Close the Door and Turn Off the Lights. But beyond the stage, his life was a spiral of loneliness and deadlock. His 5,500-square-foot Philadelphia mansion, once alive with song, friends, parties, went silent by 2009 when he was hospitalized for complications after cancer surgery. Unfinished recordings sat on the desk, the pool dried up, the living room lost its laughter. In January 2010, Teddy took his last breath. Right after the funeral, his wife slipped away at night, taking whatever she could carry. The mansion was sealed, the family shattered by inheritance fights. Now it's mossy, the glass roof cracked, rainwater pooling on wood floors. The decor's rotted, sound gear's fried, only an old, moldy sofa, where he'd sit listening to his past, remains intact. 14. Luther Vandross, Mansion of Broken Memories, and an Unfinished Song. Luther Vandross, the golden voice of R&B, was a king of love songs that left the world begging for more. His hits stirred millions, echoing in every corner. But then, his 8,000-square-foot Greenwich, Connecticut mansion, once a paradise, became a tomb trapping him. In 2003, a brutal stroke stole his voice and steps. He returned home, a mere shadow drifting. The studio, birthplace of timeless ballads, became a prison. Luther sat there, eyes red, replaying Dance with My Father, each note slicing his heart. Friends dwindled, then vanished. The house grew icy. The fireplace stayed cold, untouched. In July 2005, his heart stopped, quiet as the last glow in the wilting garden. After the funeral, the mansion was locked tight. Nobody claimed it. Snow buried the roof in winter 2006. By spring, weeds choked the garden. That summer, the living room's ceiling moldered from leaking rain. Locals say night winds carry haunting melodies, like Luther still sings, but only broken, sad notes, dangling forever. 15. Rick James, Funk Palace. Crumbled in the heart of Los Angeles, Rick James, the Funk King, made the world groove to Super Freak. His fiery voice and wild style turned every stage into a raging dance floor. But soon after blazing glory, his 6,000-square-foot Los Angeles mansion, a party haven, became a frigid grave. In 2004, Rick collapsed from heart failure alone in a red velvet bedroom. Nobody was there. His body lay cold for 12 hours before discovery. The Funk Bash ended forever. After the funeral, family squabbles over assets left the house ignored. Within a year, it was trashed. The pool dried up, littered with garbage. Velvet chairs rotted. The DJ booth gathered dust, speaker wires gnawed by rats. After 2 big storms, rain flooded the floors, leaving gaping holes. In 2008, some guy sneaked into Livestream, hyped about ghost rumors. Halfway through, he bolted, screaming about smoke smells and chilling laughter still in the house. Rick's photo hangs, his radiant smile flashing old glory, but nobody toasts anymore. The funk dream's gone mute for good. 16. Whitney Houston, queen shattered in a foreclosed castle. Whitney Houston, a divine voice, ruled charts, racked up awards, and was crowned the pop queen of the 90s. Yet, behind her stellar career was a life skidding through drugs, crises, and endless pain. Her Mendham mansion, once a cozy home, became a symbol of collapse. In 2006, when the bank seized it over massive debt, nobody could believe their eyes. The indoor pool was dry, reeking, trash floating. The studio sat abandoned, cables tangled, walls mold-streaked. Half-empty liquor bottles lingered in cabinets, broken glasses on the floor, dried bloodstains on the carpet. Nobody knows from when. Burnt-out bulbs, a busted heater. After Whitney's death, the bank listed it, but a banker said clients heard singing from the second floor. Though checked and empty, the price tanked. Nobody wants that relic. Not for ghosts, but for the dark past and heavy grief silently clinging to its cracked walls. 17. Gerald Levert, Silent Castle of the R&B Prince. Gerald Levert, one of America's sweetest black R&B voices, owned chart-topping hits, snagged major awards, and was a 90s love song icon. But behind that charm hid a soul scarred deep, alone in a 5,000-square-foot Cleveland mansion. In November 2006, he was found dead alone on a sofa in his home studio. No suicide signs. Medics ruled an overdose from mixing sleeping pills, painkillers, and anti-anxiety meds. He was drained, far from his prime. Each night, Gerald sat among sound gear, locked in darkness, chasing fading glory with tunes nobody heard. After the funeral, the house was deserted. Nothing moved. The studio reeked of mold. His engraved mic sat untouched. Dust cloaked the chandelier, the basketball court shattered, grass-piercing cracked tiles. A buyer planned a remodel but bailed months later, mumbling it felt too grim. The house now holds a legend's last soul fragment, sunk in silence. 18. Heavy D, Abandoned House on Beverly Hills. Heavy D, a 90s rap legend, dropped iconic hits and won hearts with his big frame and bursting positivity on stage. But few knew his 4,500-square-foot Beverly Hills mansion, his private paradise, saw his final, lonely days. In November 2011, Heavy D died suddenly from a blood clot after a long flight. Alone. Cameras caught him collapsing on the doorstep, hand reaching for the knob, eyes frozen outward. He went down fighting death's grip. Weeks before, lights blazed all night. Mail piled up, soggy newspapers cluttered the porch, untouched. After the funeral, nobody visited. Everything was left to rot, even his silver-plated mic, the last trace of a great artist's breath. In 2014, film students shot a horror project there for their thesis, but fled after 2 nights. Nobody talks about why. That house, once a beacon of glamour, now warns of a brutal industry where even legends can silently fade. 19. Michael Jackson, Neverland, Grand Dream. Turned to ruins, Michael Jackson, the king of pop, enthralled the world with his moonwalk, Thriller, and unmatched music records. But offstage, his world was bizarre, desolate, haunting. In 1988, Michael sank $17 million into a 2,700-acre California plot, crafting Neverland, a vibrant kingdom for kids and souls escaping reality. A zoo, theater, train, Ferris wheel, music piping day and night, but its dreamer sank into panic. After a 2003 child abuse scandal, it was raided. Michael never returned. Everything was abandoned. Animals were rehomed before starving, fences went up, rides rusted, trees overgrew paths. In 2009, he died in bed from a sedative overdose. His dream This Is It tour never launched. The 20-room mansion decayed further, leaky roofs, cracked floors, bronze statues worn by weather. From a $1 million fantasy, Neverland sat unsold for over a decade. In 2020, billionaire Ron Burkle bought it to honor a friend, but keeps it locked. Sometimes lights flicker from the rides at midnight, music plays briefly, then stops. A world of laughter now echoes, sounds nobody wants to hear. 20. Prince. Utter loneliness. In a Purple Palace Prince, a musical genius, spun timeless hits, and a quirky fashion icon, made his life a cryptic stage nobody could enter. Paisley Park, his home, studio, and private theater, was his sole kingdom. In 1987, he dropped over $10 million on a purple fortress in Minnesota with no doorbell, no schedule, just music and silence. Prince lived there like a ghost in reality. Everything happened at night. The sprawling maze-like building stumped explorers. In 2016, they found his body in the elevator, dead from a fentanyl overdose. No note, no farewell to a world that adored him. His death was as quiet as his final days. Paisley Park fell silent. Lights off, music off. It took a decade to touch it. Now a memorial museum, it still feels tied to its old master's soul. 21. Phyllis Hyman, death amid New York skies and an apartment nobody dares reclaim. Phyllis Hyman, a jazz and soul diva, shook America's music scene with a haunting, aching voice. She earned Grammy nods, worked with legends, and stood atop glory. But offstage, a darkness nobody could reach swallowed her. From the late 1980s, Phyllis lived alone in a 4,000-square-foot Manhattan penthouse overlooking Central Park. By day, a singer. By night, a depression patient drowning in booze and pills. The apartment, once a dazzling music box, became an empty shell where she sang and sobbed alone. For nearly a year before her death, she barely left. No gigs, no guests, no calls answered. Only loneliness ruled. Each night, music wailed through windows till dawn. On June 30th, 1995, 3 days shy of her birthday, she swallowed a handful of sleeping pills, turned off the lights, and lay down in her home. The apartment sat vacant for decades, a haunting fixture in New York. Those who entered left fast. Some say Phyllis's sadness never left. 22. Tupac Shakur, Young Death and a Cursed California House. Tupac Shakur, an irreplaceable rap icon, dropped classic tracks with influence stretching beyond music into politics, culture, and black resistance. He was a voice, pain, and hope for the forgotten. After prison in 1995, Tupac settled in a Woodland Hills mansion, thinking it'd spark a new chapter. It didn't. It was a brief stop before he left the world forever. The house had a pool, private studio, killer views, but behind its doors were isolation, sleepless nights, and dread. There, he penned final tracks, smoked in the dark, and grew quiet. When Tupac was gunned down in Las Vegas, his girlfriend Kidada heard the news in that kitchen and collapsed. After the funeral, she fled, never returning, dreading memories too raw. Months later, the mansion fell to ruin. Stuff vanished, walls got tagged. It's never been restored. Nobody's brave enough to enter where a legend's frantic life broke apart. 23rd. Notorious B.I.G. Legend's foresight in a haunted mansion. Notorious B.I.G., the East Coast rap king, left a deep mark with his gravelly flow, sharp lyrics, and timeless hits. He turned a criminal past into art, putting Brooklyn on the music map. In 1996, Biggie moved to a 7,000-square-foot Fort Lee mansion, a supposed safe zone. He wanted distance from Brooklyn's bullets, the Tupac feud, to be a dad, husband, artist. But the house wouldn't let him rest. The basement hummed with odd noises at night. Shadows slid across glass when the family slept. Biggie stopped sleeping, lost weight, mumbled alone, saying, "They're watching. They want me dead." Family saw him stand frozen in the living room for hours. Nobody grasped what haunted him. On March 9, 1997, his gut feeling came true. He was shot dead, leaving an LA party. That same moment, the studio light in Fort Lee sparked and blew. Reeling, Faith Evans left, and the empty mansion crumbled. 24th Aaliyah, Detroit House. Never reopened Aaliyah, a 90s R&B icon with a silky voice and trailblazing style, redefined modern music for a young generation, dubbed the Princess of R&B early on. In 1994, after a secret marriage scandal with R. Kelly, Aaliyah returned to her Detroit house, her only safe spot amid media storms. A small basement studio built by her dad became her relentless creative hub. She didn't enjoy it long. On August 25, 2001, a horrific plane crash took her at 22. From that moment, the house was sealed, whispered to hold a restless soul, a voice lingering in the dark. 25. Lisa Left Eye Lopes, painful death and a house forever, shrouded in darkness. Lisa Left Eye Lopes, the fiery rapper of legendary TLC, was a rebellious 90s R&B icon, captivating the world with untamed talent and spirit. After torching her boyfriend's house and TLC's inner rifts, Lisa moved to a Stone Mountain mansion in 1999 to isolate. She turned it into a spiritual cleanse spot. Mirrors everywhere, dim lights, strange symbols plastered along halls. But the more she decorated, the deeper she sank into paranoia. She recorded solo rants at midnight, whispering about her coming death, signs of doom. At 3 a.m., she'd roam, talking to a camcorder alone. In April 2002, she fled to Honduras to escape her fears. On the 25th, a brutal crash killed her on the spot, her handheld camera capturing her final moments. Her mansion was abandoned. Family wouldn't go near its eerie grip. Now it's a living ghost in Georgia. We've just toured 25 haunting ruins of glory and tragedy. These mansions, once symbols of power and wealth, now stand as cold reminders. Fame doesn't last, and death spares no one. Which house struck you most? What do you think really happened behind those locked doors? Are their owners still lingering in the shadows? Drop a comment below to share your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe. More jaw-dropping untold stories are waiting for you to uncover.